welcome to Well Traveled Life with Jonathan and Jennifer. We are in Glenfinnan at the Highland Games. This is an annual event. It's raining in Scotland, which makes it just about perfect. We're here for the piping, the dancing, and the sports, but we've had a wee dram or two as well. There are some really special whiskies and some gins here, and this is the home of Bonnie Prince Charlie, where he raised the standard in 1745. The Glenfinnan Visitor Center is open all year round and has exhibits, a gift shop, and a nod to the nearby Harry Potter filming. And plenty to see and do to get oriented to the history of the area. Obviously, the big draw here is to understand Bonnie Prince Charlie and his role in the development of the Jacobite Rebellion. This fight for Scottish dominion has echoes today as Scotland still vies for independence from the UK. We are at the gathering today because our friends Dave and Mo suggested this as a means to understanding Highland culture.
Glenfinnan is much visited now because of the viaduct and the Harry Potter connection. The people come here and take the steam train to Mallaig and back. That's probably booked out and you don't need to do that. Glenfinnan Gathering was established about 30 years ago, I think. It's not an ancient tradition.
It's not.
No, but it is now a new tradition, and it's been going on, and it's well worth picking up. And it is a good cultural event, and a bit of sport. And there's a hill race, and there's stalls, and a beer tent. That's pretty popular. Whisky tent.
Yeah.
But the bagpipe playing at the foot of the monument is
Special.
worth hearing. But there's an element of clan gathering, but really it's really just a gathering of the community.
As Dave said, the Highland Games involve all kinds of competition and exhibition. So bagpipe playing was a huge part of the event. We especially enjoyed the pibroch, or the classical bagpipe music. It makes you see, hear, and feel Scottish history. In the Scottish Highlands, Bonnie Prince Charlie is the icon of rebellion against British rule, and while he didn't guarantee Scottish independence, he is the face of it. The gathering began with a procession led by the chieftain and carrying the actual banners from the movie Bonnie Prince Charlie, starring David Niven.
Fesca ma huladunya agus falcha go Glenfinnan. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Glenfinnan, especially to the Glenfinnan Gathering today. It's a pleasure today to be the chieftain. I first of all started coming to Glenfinnan Games when I was about the same age as my wee granddaughter here. When we used to come to Glenfinnan, everyone thought it was a little place there where very little happened. But when you look at it, it hasn't changed at all. We had the visitor centre way back then. We had the iconic monument. The viaduct was there. The church was up the back. Glenfinnan House Hotel was across there. And the loch was there with the boats sailing on it as well, Loch Shiel. Although there's been a lot of change in the world, Glenfinnan just holds on to its traditions. And the Glenfinnan Gathering is probably one of the greatest traditions of the whole lot, bearing in mind it goes way back to 1745.
Before we hoist the flag, we are going to have a Gaelic song from Florrie Stevenson.
Whisky is canal the Studianen and Jesruach together I moharochig se vlash ned mo nueg se. Hewling father, father, la. Hewling jesses to la. Hes na vein young gwen ron of la. Sim bio batarin fuegut. Aleski chaikis ken alpe. Studianen and cheskerokoch. Dog eler ein mohadocheg. Sevlashen ed mo nueg se. Good bean you nane feeling good shivot lam dog luaset kochen ekurie veru laru nach duri keg vi suesurucht aleski gaikes ken alfe studianen and cheskerokoch dog eler ein mohadocheg Sevlashen ed mo nueg se. Cha forches chanyer derichu, Vestenen am nesbuari, Sar chaum pan nachmen vochtolu, Sran eichger sprach no gruain morscht, Aleski chaikis ken alpe, Studianen and chesveruokoch, Dog eler ein mohadocheg, Sevlashen ed mo nueg se. Chanilach chanelanan go, Chanaren os chatuach, Ach saunen rosig aricheg, Verarschtan let ein duolich, Aleski chaikis ken alpe, Studianen and chesruokoch, Dog eler ein mohadocheg, Sevlashen ed mo nueg se. Aleski chaikis ken alpe, Studianen and chesruokoch, Dog eler ein mohadocheg, Sevlashen ed mo nueg se.
Let the games commence.
On your marks, get set, go! Go! We've got a little bit of a cheat. He's holding it. He's disqualified. What son of his? Who is that? One of you is in big trouble, okay? We're keeping an eye on that.
Commemorating the raising of the standard by Bonnie Prince Charlie in 1745, the games were actually not devised and begun until 1946, and they have run continuously since then, except for 2020 and 2021, when they were called off due to COVID. The statue was erected in 1815 and stands 18 meters high at the head of the loch. It is a tribute to the loyal Jacobites who rallied behind Bonnie Prince Charlie in his attempt to regain the British crown for the Stuarts in that 1745 uprising. Essentially, he raised his standard, a banner of red and white silk reputed to have been sewn by the women of the nearby Dallalay, on August 19th of 1745. He had the loyal support of the Highland chiefs and the clans MacDonalds and the Camerons of Loch Shiel and the 7 men of Moidart. The rising of the standard marked support for that declaration, proclaiming that Charles's father, James VIII, was King of Scotland, England, and Ireland, and Charles Edward Stuart, Bonnie Prince Charlie, as his Prince Regent. The ceremony took place on a rocky knoll about 300 meters north of the monument in the hills behind the Glenfinnan Church. The statue of the Highlander was added to the original monument in 1830. The Royal Oak Society is a group of people who are set on educating, commemorating, and I would say celebrating the Jacobite spirit and the Stuart claim to royal status in the UK. We enjoyed a wee dram of whiskey, a wee bit of history.
So come in, have a look.
And how about those outfits? As we walked around the parade greens, we enjoyed meeting the vendors, trying the spirits, cheering on the competitors, watching the performances, and really getting a sense of this rainy Scottish culture and lifestyle. Nicneen is a single malt whiskey that we absolutely fell in love with. They are making it with hydropower, meaning it's a fully sustainable, zero carbon footprint whiskey.
Showing this lovely village in its own unique
And it's
style
good.
over the 12 months.
Nicneen had another really interesting varietal. It's a whiskey gin hybrid. They start with a whiskey spirit and finish it like a gin.
These here, which is like juniper, thyme, grapefruit, and a few others.
Resulting in a clear spirit with a great flavor. This distillery was making both whiskey and gin. Roslyn is the combination of Rosie and Colin, her mother and father-in-law. And with over 50 years in the whiskey distilling business, they are still continuing to make the whiskeys of her family.
We have a range of whiskies here, ranging from blended whiskey all the way up. We have single malts, different single malts, and then we have this lovely collector's piece. These both are collector's pieces, and that just sits in there.
Well, I tasted two whiskeys, and the first one was nice and smooth, and they gave me a really nice portion. The second one, she gave me very, very little, but wow, I was on fire.
She and her husband have started the gin distillery, and listen to her description of the different gins that they have. I was so impressed with the variety, and the tastes were impeccable.
Scientific terms, did you get a buzz?
Yes.
The first is a dry gin, the second is a bramble, fruity but not too sweet, and the white rose comes with a real piece of Jacobite history.
That's the actual Jacobite rose that's in there when you see the pictures of Bonnie Prince Charlie with the white cockade.
When Bonnie Prince Charlie landed in Glenfinnan in 1745, he was said to have spent the night in Fastfern, which is just a few miles down the road. When he got up in the morning, he picked a white rose from the garden, popped it in his bonnet, and that is the flower that is being used to make this gin. The fourth gin was made with heather and pine.
We were trying to capture a Highland landscape in a gin, so this is very, very fresh.
The Christmas gin has edible gold in it, as well as having been made with cinnamon and cloves. What a treat on a cold Scottish day.
Absolutely stunning. So you can have a try at whatever.
I have a favourite whisky, which is not everyone's favourite whisky.
Yeah?
I'm a fan of island whiskies, in particular Islay, which has about 8 fairly smoky whiskies, and the one that I like is Lafroig. But there are other Coolia, Lagavulin, and so on. But Islay whiskies are my favourite.
I'm Anja, and the company is Great Glen Shakeri. So we're based locally and we source venison from the local area. So it's all wild venison we use for our charcuterie. We make a range of salamis, chorizos, pepperoni, all with the wild venison, which we sell to independent stores and food service. So you can buy it in restaurants. And I'm actually Dutch, so I'm not local. So I moved here with my husband in 2000, and then we set up the business in 2003. And we've been making a charcuterie for 20 years now. It's just the space, the Netherlands. There's so many people, too many people, one might say, and it's just the space, nature, just freedom. And we've got 6 children, and they had such a great, childhood, just roaming the hills, and what we love.
Love that.
What do you want for this?
Money. Money. Can we get 3 rounds of cheers for these amazing children? Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Wow, aren't they amazing?
1745.
45.